Hey Noriko. Today we're gonna watch why Switzerland's are the best in Europe by not just bikes. I love his channel. I watched his channel for years. And he made a few videos about Switzerland. I want to share them with you and add what I can add. Because I am Swiss. I live my entire life in Switzerland. I get around by Swiss trains since I'm like 10 years old. Also, if you could like the video and write a comment, that would help a lot with the algorithm. And if there's a Switzerland video you want me to react to, mention it in the comments, but no links though, thanks. And yeah, I have a lot to say. So let's jump right in. Why Swiss trains are the best in Europe? Because they are. Like, one funny thing. When a train is late in Switzerland, there's like a 95% chance the train came from a neighboring country. That's how good Swiss trains are. But anyway, let's watch.
This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream and Nebula, which is possibly the best bundle deal in video streaming, but more about that later. I live in the Netherlands, where we have some pretty good trains. There's a dense network that connects nearly all major towns and cities. The busiest train station, Utrecht Centraal, has over 1,000 train departures.
Dude, Deutsche Bahn is so garbage. Deutsche Bahn is why I don't like to travel to Germany.
Countries. For example, I can go to Paris in less than 3.5 hours. But as good as we have it here in the Netherlands, there's another country in Europe that does.
This is Swiss train company. My cat's the conductor sector. We did have an anime mascot once. Her name is Nozomi. Which I will go into probably at the end of the video. But yeah, there was an anime train mascot in Switzerland for a while.
This train's better. Much better, in fact. Welcome to the 𝗟𝗏𝗄𝗃 𝗍𝗆𝗆, or as I like to call it, Switzerland. Famous for mountains, holy cheese, chocolate, bending.
Fun fact, the Matterhorn is exactly on the border of Switzerland and Italy. And it's only barely on the Swiss side of the border. Little fun fact.
Knives and time bracelets, and of course, trains. Lots and lots of trains. Now,
Dude, Swiss trains are
I've been to
amazing.
Switzerland many times, and I've taken the train every time I've come because, of course, I did. It's the most efficient way.
This
to
is
get around.
Basel, I think.
But recently, I stayed a full week in Switzerland.
Yeah, Basel. Basel 𝗍𝗆𝗍𝗆𝗍. 𝗍𝗆𝗍𝗆𝗍 means Schweizer Bundesbahn, which is Swiss national train or whatever.
Trains per day to find out what makes these trains.
Like, 𝗍𝗆𝗍𝗆𝗍 is mostly for countrywide service, and we have regional train services as well. But 𝗍𝗆𝗍𝗆𝗍 is the main network.
The best trains in Europe. One of the things that really sets the trains
Dawn!
apart in Switzerland
That's where my favorite cheese is from!
Look at this map.
Dude, the Swiss train network is so good. Look at this shit! Also, this area here is all mountains. That's why there's not so many trains here. This is all Alps. This area here. This here is the plateau where most people live, and then here are the Jura Mountains. Just as a reference, so you know a bit more about the terrain of Switzerland.
There are train stations everywhere. There are towns, tiny towns, that have consistent, reliable train service every 30 minutes.
Dude,
In
I
many
love
other
the villages
countries,
here.
They wouldn't even provide bus service to a place this small. Some of the smallest towns have request stop service, where you need to press this button to have the train stop. But
Yeah, but
there's
it's
still
very
bus
few.
service.
Most small towns get just bus service. Like when it comes to small villages, unless they're in the mountains mostly. Mountain villages get train service, but they have stop on request.
And this train station that services only a single cafe, a ski lift, and a hiking trail has
Windtrek,
service
yeah.
every 30 minutes.
I've never
Meanwhile,
been there because I
the
don't
city
go
of Calgary
skiing.
in Canada, a city of 1.3 million people, has no intercity train service.
Dude, train service in North America is so absolute garbage. Like, I've never been to North America, but I see enough. Like, I don't want to travel to North America mainly because there's no easy way to get around if you don't have a car.
At all. Zurich also has about 1.3 million.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know if he talks about Zurich the city or Zurich the canton. Because the city itself has 400,000 citizens. Last time I checked. And the canton has 1.6 million.
People, but almost 3,000 trains per day. With train times so frequent, you don't even need to look at a schedule. So if you're taking the train here, you won't have to wait very long. Frequencies like this are the gold standard of public transportation, but this is really only feasible in more populated areas. So how do they provide such...
That gets memed on because it was big placement in a movie where the main character gets tagged on... What? You probably would be confused if you saw the inside of a metro train. No. Metros are just worse trams.
Good train service to smaller towns and villages. Well, Switzerland is a relatively small country.
Is it weird that I know where this is? I know exactly where this is. Because that's where I had my commute to school when I was a kid. I know exactly where this is. It's very funny, eh?
People may assume why the public transit can be so good, but these Wikipedia-level statistics can be very misleading. Because by population, Swiss cities...
Are you supposed to know? Okay, no, his graph is absolutely wrong. His graph is wrong. This is cities in Switzerland. No, wait. It's city and region. I didn't see it because of the subtitles. Okay, no, the graph is right. So he was talking about the canton. Okay. But yeah, Zurich has like an 8/47 of the entire country. This is why Zurich is so garbage. If you didn't notice, I don't like Zurich. Zurich is absolute garbage. I don't like going to Zurich. I want to go to Zurich to go to the airport.
Actually aren't that big. After Zurich, the next largest city, Geneva, has only about 600,000 people in the whole region.
Yeah, the population of cities is really small.
Of the entire population.
Man, fuck Zurich. All my homies hate Zurich. Basic Swift friends. Yeah, sure.
In small villages of less than 10,000.
That you think about $5?
People. In a way, Switzerland is a sprawling country, but instead of car dependence...
Dude. This is such a waste of land. This is such an absolute waste of land. Wait, does this not even have sidewalks? Wait. There are no sidewalks, what? You guys don't even have sidewalks. This is North America. What? There's no sidewalks. Very small strip. I don't see any sidewalks in this picture. I just see the curb. Or is this little shit here a sidewalk? Like this road here, no sidewalk at all. This road, no sidewalk at all. This little shit here, that's the fucking curb. This shit is a fucking curb, not a sidewalk. Okay, here's a very tiny sidewalk on this Probably main road. What the hell is this? You sidewalks, people just walk across others' yards. Yeah, I would too. And then you get shot because you walk over someone's property. Depends on the sidewalk, sometimes not. Like, I am very invested in urbanism. For those who don't know, urbanism is one of my big special interests. And I never get over how shitty America designs its cities. Like, what the hell is this? How do kids go to school for the sidewalk? Like, for real? How do kids go to school for the sidewalk? So in a patch of land, school, bro. More Swedes says walk the American way. They bus, walk, or get dropped off by parents. Dude, in Switzerland we only have school bus for the disabled kids. The other kids walk, take public transit, or bike. That's why urban planning is shaped by redlining, segregation. They're propping up the car industry, it says. Yeah, I know. But like, if there's a place where there should be sidewalks, it's a fucking residential area. Walk for yardage, bro. That is actually dystopian.
Suburban sprawl, like you'd see in North America, it's village sprawl.
I was lucky enough to live close by two of my town schools, so I could actually walk to school. Nice. Actually, driving kids to school is bad for the kids' development. Because if they just drive by everything, they don't familiarize themselves with their own neighborhood, their own town. That's why so many North American people are just bad at orientation, at orienting themselves. That's one of the leading reasons why.
Yet the country still manages to cover this highly dispersed population.
Yeah, we just have small villages everywhere. So I was in the school, up to my school. Would have been telling, damn. I understand if the school is far away. But again, you probably want to build more schools. Yeah, the thing is, America has a problem with zoning. Like, they don't allow for mixed development, so they can't build, like, schools or shops or whatever in residential areas. Which is so counterproductive. Like, those are the things you want to live close to. It's so dumb. I should watch some urbanist content in another stream. My parents always told me to pay attention to the places we pass, even when I was being driven. Yeah, that means you have good parents. But most parents don't do that. We want more schools, but when it starts to happen, NIMBYs come out of the water. Yeah, that's a nice thing, we don't have NIMBYs. NIMBYs aren't a thing in Switzerland. It is why people say miss out not experience walking somewhere. Yeah. It's absolutely missing out. So is it healthy? It's better for me. Yeah.
With exceptional public
Not just
transport.
Pax has a video on that. I should watch that too.
Uses what is called clock face scheduling. For example, a transit vehicle that comes every 30 minutes.
I know where this is.
15 minutes and 45 minutes after the hour, or 5 minutes and 35.
My dad used to live there.
4 times per hour at 5, 20, 35, and 50
Or somewhere close.
hour, but regardless, it's consistent.
It is the same for solar and wind farms too. They don't want renewable energy but lose their minds because of the view. Bro. Memes are weird.
And it goes all day, so that regular users won't have to think too much.
But yeah, train schedules are pretty biased.
This is actually pretty normal in many countries' schedules.
Like, I never have to look at a schedule for my train to the city because I can just remember the time because it's always the same time. Every hour, the same times. It's so based.
Their public transit this way, including the Netherlands and Germany.
You really only have to look at a schedule if you take a train for like the first 3 or 4 times. Also, by the way, the main train line goes to Geneva, to Lausanne, to Freiburg, to Bern, to Alten, to Zurich, and then somewhere here, usually St. Gallen. But sometimes it goes some other way, to Schaffhausen, for example. But the main line is Zurich to Geneva. That's the main line. And the most used commuter line.
Switzerland takes this a step further by synchronizing their timetables across the entire country.
And yeah, everything is aligned with the scheduling. Like, not just the trains are scheduled in a way that reduces your transfer time, like if you have to switch trains. This also includes buses. Like, in the countryside, we have buses that go further in the countryside where trains aren't viable. And they have the same schedule as the trains. And they usually sit at the train station like 1 or 2 minutes before the train comes in and leaves like 2 or 3 minutes after the train stopped. So people have time to transfer to the bus, but don't have to wait like 10-15 minutes for the bus to go. But it also depends on which place, of course. But it's very tight. Like in my village, for example, we have train and bus. The train arrives every hour. The bus in both directions, because my region has a train. Buses basically driving a triangle, basically, between the 3 major connection points that have connections to trains. So my town is where they split off in the respective routes, and they just basically drive around and then come back together again in my town. And it's scheduled so those both buses arrive at the same time, which is, I think, 4 minutes before the train arrives. And then the train obviously stays for like 3 to 4 minutes. Because it's Endstation, the end of the line. The final station of the line. And the buses drive off like 2 or 3 minutes after the train opened the doors. It's a really small train station, like we have only one single train that goes back and forth. One single train. I live in a small town, by the way. My town has, I think, 3,000 citizens. So yeah, this one's from train. And to be fair, it only has 3 stops. Like my village, another village, a third village, and then a small town or a big town, depends how you look at it, that then connects to the major cities. And I would like to tell you which cities, but I would dox myself. But since I'm Bernese, I can say connects that last station connects to Bern, which is a major hub. Like the major hubs in Switzerland are Bern, Olten, and Zurich. Those are the ones with the best connections. Because Bern connects everything in the Romandy to the rest of the country. Olten is in the center of Basel, Bern, and Zurich, so a lot of regional traffic. And Zurich connects all of eastern Switzerland to the rest.
A method called pulse timetabling or integrated timetables. Here's how it works. Train departure time.
Not a new fireman game where you fight NIMBYs and anti-urbans to build the rail line. That would be so base. Someone make that ROM hack, please.
Times at the train station are staggered, so that trains may be arriving every 30 minutes at, say, 15 minutes past the hour. And
I still know the time for my school commuter train, by the way. I still know the time. It's either 6 past the hour or 36 past the hour. That's when my commuter train was going. I think the schedule changed a bit since I was in school. That was over 10 years ago. But yeah.
Departing in a different direction at, say, 25 minutes past the hour.
Sargans. I don't know where Sargans is.
Most people arriving at the station will have at most 10 minutes to wait for their connecting train. But Switzerland integrates these timetables throughout the entire
Logic of the urban war.
network across the entire country to minimize connection durations as much as possible. Not Just Bike's viewer 𝗩𝗃𝗃 has written a great article about this that I'll link to in the description, but here's a quick summary for those of you who are allergic to reading. His analysis, done at 10 a.m. on a Friday, so out.
The usual connection time between trains in Switzerland. 40% of connections are 5 minutes or lower. You only see this kind of timetable in fucking Japan and Switzerland. Robert, do it.
Of rush hour shows that across the entire Swiss train network,
And honestly, the 30 minutes plus only happened to me when I missed my train. Because either I didn't bother running. Some trains are really close, by the way. Sometimes you have to run. Or because I spent too much time at the kiosk getting a drink. Which happened a lot, actually. But the 30 minutes plus usually only happens when you miss your train.
average wait time for a connection is 8.4 minutes.
That's the average. That's also how late the average German train is. Yes, I'm flying straight at Germany. Everyone knows that Deutsche Bahn is absolute garbage. Like 8.4, that's nothing. Like a hunt in Monster Hunter takes longer than this.
With 70
Sometimes, depends on the monster.
possible connections being 10 minutes or less. That's astonishing. And it
Bus to Lucano. Connections to Lucano are kinda garbage, honestly. They're all around the same time. Like the one with no transfer takes 2 hours 56 minutes. And this is the longest one with one transfer that takes 3 hours 60 minutes. That is not a big difference. That's just 20 minutes. And it's probably taking a different route than this one. That's good. Also, the symbol here means there's construction or maintenance going on. So that also adds to the delay.
It means that even a trip with multiple train connections is only marginally longer than a single direct train. Another benefit of integrated timetabling is that the Swiss can squeeze the most capacity possible out of their network. Switzerland is an incredibly mountainous country, and that means that building rail lines is extremely expensive. So there are individual rail lines and a small...
Dude, this shit is so fucking cool. I should take trains in the Alps more often. Because most lines in the Alps are only a single line that traffic both directions. And that's really cool. But it only works because of the tight scheduling.
Small number of routes need to be shared by a large number of rail services. This tight scheduling is the only way a route like this could operate with only a...
Also, read this sign. Where the fuck is... Oh, that's an ad. I thought it's a street sign.
For example, while traveling through the south of Switzerland, our train occasionally needed to wait briefly for another train to clear the tunnel, which was only a single track. But wait times were short, and we...
That's why trains through the Alps are a bit slower. Because you wait for another train to pass so it can take the same line. That's why it takes 3 hours to get to Lugano. But Bern to Zurich is only 1 hour, but about the same amount of distance.
Time. Of course, in order to pull this off, the trains need to arrive when they're supposed to arrive, and Swiss trains are famously punctual.
This is Bern!
The official statistic is that 91.9% of all trains arrive on time, but it's even better than it sounds.
No, it isn't. It kind of looked like it.
On time is
This is Bern. This is Bern Hauptbahnhof. Yeah. Yeah, I see the train I would need to take home. Hell yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna dox a little thing about myself. My school is right at this train station. One of the schools I went to. It's right at this train station. So my breaks during lunch and recess and shit, I just spent at a train station. Spending people or train watching. That was so pog. But if anyone wants to find the school I was at, I don't give a shit because the school is garbage. If you find the Burger King surrounding the train station, my school is right across from that. And there used to be an electronics store right below that, where I always browse the new games during breaks and shit. It's now some herbal crystal shop or whatever.
This is a much stricter definition than you'll find in many others.
Also, this spot specifically where the camera is right now is called the Treffpunkt, the meeting spot. And this is just where you meet the people you want to meet. This is where you meet up. Like when I go to Bern to meet my dad or my bestie, we meet at this exact spot.
Other countries. Here in the Netherlands, for example, the national carrier, Nederlandse Spoorwegen, considers a train to be on time if...
Oh, the late thing. Yes, isn't a train is considered late after 3 minutes? If it's 3 minutes late, it's considered late.
It's within 5 minutes of the scheduled arrival time. And where I used to live in the Greater Toronto area, Go Transit uses a 15-minute metric for
15 minutes! That's more than just late. If in Switzerland a train is late by 15 minutes or longer, they prepare a replacement train or bus. Like, goddamn!
for on-time performance for a region that is a tiny fraction the size of Switzerland, but with a similar population. And if you think that's bad, Via Rail in Canada says that 71% of their trains are on time.
Almost 30% of the trains in Canada are 15 minutes or more late? What? That's crazy! Bro, who? How?
But they don't publish what metric they use. But anyway, what's really impressive about the Swiss train network is the connection punctuality.
I mean, this is Zurich Flughafen, ne? I'm sure this is the Zurich airport. Also, look at the punctuality. 98.9. And 3 minutes is considered late. Good 50 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. It could be an hour, bro. And look at the punctuality in Swiss. And like, this is not just a thing of trains. That's just our culture. We value punctuality so fucking much. There is no such thing as fashionably late. You're either on time or you're late. That's why usually always like 15 to 10 minutes early for anything.
In Switzerland allow their passengers to make their
I once met up with my bestie because we're coming from different train lines to meet. I either take a train and have him wait for like 10 minutes for me, or I take the earlier train and wait 20 minutes for him. I take the earlier train because I don't want to make the other person wait. That's a Swiss mentality. As if a train arriving late is more rare than getting a red character in a gacha. Yeah. Exactly.
their connection, which is amazing. After all, arriving at home 5 minutes late one day isn't really a big deal, but just missing your connection to a train.
You try to be early too, yeah. Because if you're early, you show respect to the other person that you value their time. If you're late, you show absolute disregard for the other person's time. And that's just disrespectful.
Minutes is much worse. But enough statistics and graphs. What is it actually like to take the train in Switzerland?
Oh, I probably have some more insight because I took a lot of trains. I've been commuting by train since I'm like 9 or 10 years old. Yes, by myself. Well, by myself with my big sister, who was only like 3 years older. But like we were taking trains since we were kids by ourselves. So I've seen the good and the bad of trains.
Well, first of all, the trains are really nice. Every train I took was modern, clean, and comfortable.
Okay. That only applies to the daytime trains. The trains in between commutes are super clean, super pretty, amazing. Look fresh out of the factory. But the early morning commute trains are disgusting. Like if you take a train at like 6 or 7 a.m., those are absolutely gross. And the ones after rush hour in the evening, those trains are disgusting. Sticky shit on the floor because somebody spilled a drink. Someone pissed over the toilet. There's scratches over the windows from some stupid punky teenagers who scratch it with their coins or whatever. Like, I had to take a morning train to school, to the school in Bern. Every morning. I took a 6 a.m. train. First of all, super overcrowded. Most of the time, I didn't even get to sit in the morning. And it's just gross. People are gross. Also, sometimes you see a morning drinker. If you know what I mean. Also, to take a bus to work, and even though I signaled it, the driver didn't stop. Wow. That's shit. But yeah, trains being pretty and clean or whatever heavily depends on the time. But in the daytime trains, like the ones you see from like, I don't know, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., those are fucking clean. Also, it also heavily depends on which line you take. Like the main line between like Bern and Zurich, absolutely gross trains. Would not recommend. But the research trains, like the one I have for my village, that's a fucking neat train. I fucking love my local train, okay? I fucking love my local train. And the buses are super clean too. But when it gets... Okay, mostly it's just the trains that connect to the major cities. The trains that connect to Zurich, Basel, or Bern are fucking gross. But the regional trains, especially those in the Alps, are fucking awesome.
In the mountain regions, there are even trains with windows like this,
Yeah, panorama windows.
And you definitely want to get a good view when the landscape looks like this.
This is why riding trains in Switzerland is so awesome. Like, wherever you go by train in Switzerland, you always have a great view. Like, always. The bus was empty and it was no serious because it wasn't saying out of bruh.
There are also tourist trains like the Glacier Express that are even better, but more about.
Yeah, I never took the Glacier Express. I really gotta take that one time. Because I don't really have the money. Like, as nice as Swiss trains are, it's pretty expensive. There is a thing called the GEA general subscription, which just lets you ride everything without buying a ticket. But it's expensive and it's only worth it if you actually commute regularly. What I have is a half tax, which just lets you buy tickets at a kid's price, basically. And even if that, train commutes are expensive. Like, if I take a train to Bern from where I live, that costs me roughly $10. It's a half-hour ride. Like, if I want to go to Zurich, that costs me like 15 or 20, it depends. Depends if I go over Bern or another city. I almost stalks myself. It is expensive. Like, my bestie has to commute with train to work, and he has a GEA, share subscription, and he truly benefits from that. But I barely commute. I barely even benefit from the half tax, by the way. I barely go outside. But still, it's very expensive. Also, my $10 ticket to Bern, that's with the half tax. If I didn't have that, it would cost me around $20. Took a train one time and the train conductor was saying, running about the next stops, but it was my stop. He said, wow.
That later. But even the regular intercity train.
Yeah, this is a restaurant card. You get these on the main line and yeah, mostly the main line in the morning and during lunch. Mostly during lunch. Like a midday commute. And yeah, it's fine. Like, you can buy sandwiches and get some coffee. Also, they're not first class, the restaurant cards. They are for everyone. I'm not sure how it is now because I only have been to restaurant cards as a kid. Maybe nowadays they charge you a bit extra to sit there, but when I was a kid, I didn't. You could just go there. But this is mainly for the very long commutes.
Trains are great. I want you to look at this scene for a moment. How freaking civilized is this?
Yeah, trains are fucking awesome.
Can you seriously tell me you'd rather sit in traffic on a highway, confined to your seat, with a belt, constantly needing to pay attention, with no way to comfortably eat or even take a piss, instead of this?
Yeah. I don't drive. I don't have a car. And if I need to go somewhere by car, I just tell my dad to drive me. And when you take the Autobahn, there's nothing interesting to look at. Unless you drive towards the mountains and you see the mountains come closer. But there is nothing interesting to look at. Just like these, not driving is kind of understandable. I mean, I would also not drive if I lived in Germany with their shitty Deutsche Bahn. I would still not drive there. But like, I think everyone would prefer a Swiss train over a car commute. So places wouldn't need to drive. Yeah. Like, even in Switzerland, you still need a car if you live very countryside. Like, I live in a small village, right? I mentioned that before. But I'm well enough connected to not need a car. But also, the train and bus in my town are only hourly. So if I want to go somewhere outside of my town, I have to really plan this. I can have spontaneous trips. So if I would want spontaneous trips, I would need a car. But since I don't go outside because I'm a fucking stinky Vtuber, it's all fine. But like, if you live really country, you need a car. But it only matters if you actually go outside. Like, I grew up in a very small village with barely 1,000 people, and that's between 2 villages at once. It only has a population of 2 neighboring villages. So my actual town probably had like 500 people. And we had a bus every half hour. Even in a small town of 500 people, I would not need a car. I even rode my bike to the neighboring bigger town for stuff. Like, that's also the thing. Swiss roads, like, even if you don't have a car, they are safe to cycle. Is the thing. So, unless you have a spontaneous or a long-ass commute, you just don't need a car. Ever. Like, if you go, for example, furniture shopping or whatever, you can just rent a car. Or have it delivered to you. Like, the big shelf I built together last week. That I posted on Blue Sky and Discord. I had it delivered to my house. Not house, to my apartment. Because I didn't want to bother my dad with the car. Wish all roads were like that in the US. Where some roads have dedicated areas. I mean, most roads in Switzerland also just have painted bicycle gutters. As not just bike spots it. Which is just some yellow paint or whatever on the side of the road. But the thing is, in Switzerland, we actually respect other people. So even in those gutters, it's safe to cycle. Like, my very small village where I grew up had one single road going through the thing. And it just has one lane in each direction and painted bicycle gutters. And even when I was like 5 or 6 years old, I rode my bike down that road, no issue. There was one situation, you know those small children pedal cars? The cars where you can pedal and move forward and shit? I had one of those when I was a kid. I think this was when I was 4 or 5. But, like, I was just allowed to roam the village. The village was on a hill. And I just dragged this car all the way up the hill, on the main road, and then drove it down the main road. I blocked the entire main road, Because I wanted to drive a car on the road. Nothing happened. But it's funny to think back. You need delivery if you have a way to pick it. I mean, that's fair. But also consider that when you pick it up yourself, you have to consider gas costs and all that shit. And if your car is even big enough, if your car is not big enough, you have to rent a bigger car or a trailer. So it doesn't really matter. Maybe for beginners, yeah. But yeah, I rode my bike on the main road of my village, which has a lot of through traffic. Because my village was right in between a bigger town, which is actually the town I lived in before I moved here, and another bigger town. Both of these towns have a train station that are actually connected to the main line. And my village is in between, so we get a lot of through traffic between those two towns, right? But it was still safe to cycle on the main road. If it doesn't cost, you can control the transport. This really does work. Delivery always works in Switzerland. Like, I can sometimes order groceries if I don't feel like going down to town.
I refuse to believe that there's any better way to travel than on a train like this one.
Yeah, it's just a
I
craze.
was also impressed at how many trains had level boarding and direct access to wheelchair.
Yeah, it depends. Some train stations aren't updated yet, but most places in Switzerland have level boarding. I know, I don't remember how long ago, but in the last like 10-15 years in Bern, they worked on all the train platforms to make them level boarding. Like if you go to Bern, every tram has level boarding. And I don't know if the buses do, but they go down on the door side if they need to. And trains are mostly level boarding as well. My local train is level boarding too, but the buses are not.
Areas and accessible restrooms.
Also, disabled friendly bathrooms in every single train. Except like the really old ones. But most modern trains have disability friendly bathrooms. In the morning they're full of piss. In the morning and at night they're full of piss.
Accessible to everyone. And every station I visited had ramps or elevators too. Though as I was filming my walk to my connecting train, I wasn't expecting to see this guy take the escalator.
Yo, this dude is goated. Who needs an elevator if you can just do this with your wheelchair? What? Look at this absolute goat. Let's go.
Damn. Individual train trips in Switzerland can be quite expensive, but for residents, it's quite common to have half price or regional travel.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned before, the half tax. Half price, I guess is proper translation. But it's called the halb tax, so half tax.
Cards loaded onto a Swiss.
I have one of these.
And some people are even provided.
By the way, the Swiss pass counts for trains, trams, buses, and boats. It goes for boats as well. Funny quirk about my village. It is a village right next to a river. And we have a boat during summer between two cities. And in summer you can take this boat as a slow as commute. Which I kind of want to do. I kind of want to do that this summer. Just take a boat to the city. And yeah, we have a lot of lakes and rivers. A lot. Like, I literally live in a region that's called the Lakelands. Oops, I doxed myself.
Limited travel card by their employer. For most of the week, I traveled second class, and in every case, this was
Second class is totally fine. Honestly, if you come to Switzerland and want to take the train, second class is fine unless it's rush hour. In the morning and the evening, don't take a train or go first class. Because shit is so full. You won't be able to sit unless you get in first. It's even worse for trains that have multiple stops and you're in a middle stop. Then it's already full when you get in. That shit is so ass.
more than good enough.
Like the train that I always had to take in the morning to school. It came from Alton, one of the biggest train hubs in Switzerland. So it was already fucking full when I got in, when I had to get on. Like, that shit was horrible. So yeah, only if you have a midday train, take second class, otherwise first class. Also, look how pretty this is. Also, first class is fucking comfy as fuck.
4 days, I bought a countrywide travel pass for first class, just to see the difference. Thank you, Patreon supporters. First class is an upgrade, but it's not significant and probably not worth the price unless the route you're taking is
Then this is public transport. It's to be expected, yeah.
really busy.
Like, you even see, like, fancy dressed people take the train. Like, that's how everyone uses trains is. Also, I had to take another seat because people were occupying it. Yeah.
However, some of the trains have business zones like...
Dude, the business zones are so fucking goated. I once sat in a business zone just because why not? I didn't have a ticket for it. I did that a lot actually. Like when the train was too full, I just sat in first class. Because I'm basic like that. And they just said I had mobility issues when asked to leave. And that I need to sit. I was a base child, okay? But yeah, business zones are the absolute goat of trains. Like, oh my god, if you had a chance to sit there, do it.
this one that are extremely comfortable.
They're
And I was
so
able
fucking
to get a few
comfy.
hours of work done while in transit too.
Also, funny thing, you see it here, almost, or pretty sure. But in every modern train, every single seat has an outlet. Or every single section of the train. Every table has an outlet, basically. Even in the non-business zones. Like, even second class has outlets everywhere.
There's a famous quote by the former mayor of
You can see the outlets right here. These are outlets everywhere. Yeah, they're usually up here, but sometimes they're under the table. Sometimes, but usually they're up here. And it's really nice.
A developed country is not a place where the poor have cars. It's where the rich use public transport.
This, so much this. I fucking love this quote. Because if rich people take the trains, they actually know how to make it better. Like, that's the thing with America, right? Nobody except the poor take the train, right? Nobody except the poor or the disabled take the train. That's why they're so garbage. Because the rich people who could improve the system don't know what's wrong. Because people are using it, so it's gonna be fine, right? It says so many countries have such garbage train and public transit. Because the rich people could influence for better change don't use it.
Transportation, and that is absolutely the case in Switzerland. When I was traveling first class,
Yeah, here, just some business dudes in the train. You don't see that in most other countries. The things I want to do in my life is vacation in a long-term train ride. Like a luxury train. Luxury trains are a scam. Gotta be honest. I was in a luxury train once. It's eh.
I routinely saw well-dressed people and professionals like this who opened their laptop to debrief after a business meeting. I believe that having wealthy people
Look at this shit. This shit is awesome. It's going from Bern to Frankfurt to Germany. Hell yeah. It's happening in Bern next. Let's go.
take public transportation is important because, for better or for worse, these people are likely to have the power and political influence to demand efficient service.
Yeah, people with political influence should take trains. It's like an airplane more than a train with those seats. Yeah, shit is so comfy.
For planning your journey,
Oh, the SUP app. It's a good app, but I have one issue. I once bought a wrong ticket on accident with the app. And you can actually connect it to your bank. So it instantly pays automatically without any input. And I have the connection, obviously. And when I bought a ticket, I accidentally bought the wrong one. And it took me 4 to 5 hours to manage to get a refund. Because obviously I couldn't take the train that already left. And the train left like 10 minutes ago, but I still had it open from when I was looking for connection on my phone while at home. So it took forever to get a refund. It's only $10, so I don't give a shit. But my god, that was a pain in the ass. But the app is super good. One issue I have though is because most people use the app now, cities start to get rid of ticket machines. Like for example, Bern, my dad told me this. But I want to get rid of like tram and bus ticket boxes, ticket machines. Which is stupid. That is really stupid. Like, what do you do if your phone is dead? And what do the people who don't understand how phones work, like boomers or tiny children, supposed to get tickets? Like, that's just dumb. That's just stupid. They really want to get rid of ticket machines in Bern. And I don't get why. This is important, yeah. Like, the majority uses the app, sure. But not only are the people still using the tickets, what do you do if the app doesn't work? Like, that's just dumb.
SBB app is fantastic. You choose your route and it shows you exactly how long it's going to take and where you need to change.
Yeah, this is why the app is coded. It shows you every little detail. It even tells you how long it takes to change platforms on the train station. It literally tells you that.
With a list of every station.
And this is where exactly the train is on the route. Like, it's right here. It was in Tech now. It's halfway to Alton. Like, it shows, and it moves. It's real-time updating. And that's why the app is so fucking goated. Like, that's also how, like, if you take a route you usually take and you know the train is going to be late, you can check how far behind it actually is and make an educated guess based on that. That shit is goated. I just have no problem, but getting rid of ticket machines is not something they should do. Yeah.
in between. And it will even show you the layout of the station and the exact path between platforms.
This happened for people who are not familiar with the train stations. But yeah, I never used that.
Changing trains doesn't get any easier than this. Here is an example of a typical train trip, one of the many.
Okay, let's see how typical this train trip actually is. As someone who commuted for over 20 years by train, let's see how typical this is.
Many I took during my week in Switzerland. In any other country, I'd be worried about taking a trip with this many changes. But when you're likely to catch your connection,
Nah, computer is every issue.
it's not a problem.
Is right with that. Only on very few occasions you'll miss a train.
Here, I look at my first connection. The app shows me where I need.
Oh, this is also something. That's not just an app thing. They also showed it on the actual platforms. They show you the expected capacity of each set of each card. They show the expected capacity, in which sector they stop, and everything else. It's so good.
To stand on the platform.
That's why when I take the train home, I should go to the furthest away card, because nobody can be asked to walk back there. That's why that one is the most empty. The whole train is like 200 meters long, by the way, that I need to take home from Bern. And I walk all the way to the back because nobody else can be asked. And the ones in front are always completely full.
Platform for my train, as well as an estimate of how big.
Here, Sector G is always in the back. Like, the train I have to go goes back to Sector M, actually. And yeah, you see, in the back, pretty much empty. Okay, this is first class, but point still stands.
Carriages.
Point still stands.
Tells me exactly where I need to get off to.
Oh, Interlaken. If you go to Switzerland, I can recommend visiting Interlaken. It's very pretty.
Going to. And I get a notification when we're getting close.
Yeah, I never turn notifications on.
Because I know exactly where I'm arriving and which platform I need to get to. This is an older.
It is an old regional train. They are less comfy but still nice. But those are the ones you usually see with scratched windows and shit.
Train, but it's still clean and comfortable. My next train was running almost 3 minutes late, and the app warned me that the connection might not be possible.
Oh, because it's around 3 minutes late, yeah. And the walk to the next thing, wait. But 3 minutes late, that is 56. That is 6-minute time to move to the next train. In Lauterbrunn is not a big train station. This is so guaranteed. Bullshit! This is guaranteed if you know where to go.
But of course, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, wait.
And a connection might not be possible. But of course,
look how small this train station is. You don't need 6 minutes for a transfer.
it was perfectly fine. And I got to my next train with plenty of time to spare. Even when the connection involved a transfer to a bus, it was waiting right outside.
Ah, Postauto. The yellow buses are called Postauto. And they're usually the ones that go really countryside. They go to the small 300 people villages kind of buses.
Because the schedules are properly aligned, even to a connecting bus service. So was all of my travel perfect in Switzerland? Well, no.
No. It's not always perfect. Like, even with everything working out, there could always go something wrong. Like, I had trains delay multiple times because someone unalived in front of the train. Like, shit happens. It is the most extreme example, but shit happens. Nothing is perfect.
I took about 24 trains while I was there, and I was unlucky enough, or lucky enough for the purpose of this video, to miss one of my connections. So
Actually, unaliving by train is pretty common in Switzerland. It's really sad. We have a high unaliving rate.
what was that like? Well, first, the train was late because of a delay in another country.
This is so based. This is so fucking based. When a train is late, Switzerland says why. It's in another country. It always is. It fucking always is. Unless it's an unaliving thing. It's fucking delayed from another country, I swear to God. These are the only two options that exist.
Ooh.
Or the weather.
Switzerland throwing Italy under the bus. I mean, train.
Italy's trains are actually getting better. Like, Italy's trains aren't perfect, but they're good. They're definitely better than Germany's trains.
But from what I've been told, many of the Swiss trains that are late because they're coming from another country. So this
Wait, is this a Deutsche Bahn train? No.
So anyway, my train was late. And
I thought it was Deutsche Bahn.
Now,
the app tells you almost everything about an incoming train. Yeah.
There have been
And you can even just check the connections of your homies that take another route to meet. Like, it's really nice.
many times in my life where I've been driving between cities.
By the way, highways look the exact same in Switzerland, just with some mountains in the background. But it's the exact same view. It's absolute garbage.
And I end up being half an hour late or an hour late or more because of unexpected car traffic. This is just a normal part of travel, especially in places with no alternatives to driving. But being stuck in stop-and-go traffic...
The only difference is between Swiss highways is we have way less traffic because we have trains. That's the only difference we have. There's still, you know, accidents and congestion and all that shit, but way less severe than, for example, North America.
Traffic like this sucks. It sucks a lot, and I hate it. When I missed my connection in Switzerland, I was in a...
ELS. That's my regional train line. That's my regional train line. PLS is going around in Bern and surrounding. Like, it also goes to Solothurn and further south into the mountains. But it's mostly just Region Bern. Region Bern.
Tiny town of only 13,000 people. But while I waited, I was able to grab something to eat. And I stepped outside to enjoy the view.
Yeah. Like, if you take a route countryside, missing the train isn't so bad. I had that happen a lot. We just was too slow for the transfer or was stuck at the store or whatever. If you travel countryside or lakeside, having to wait half an hour for the next train isn't bad. Not at all.
When you drive in traffic, you don't really know how long it's going to be, and it's stressful and frustrating. This delay was the exact polar opposite of that. In fact,
I don't know where that is. It is either 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗄𝗏 or 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃. But I'm not sure.
really enjoyable break.
Looks more like
I
𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗃𝗃𝗃.
wonder how much better the world would be if people's travel delays were like this instead of like this. It just blows my mind that even a delayed train trip in Switzerland was better than almost any intercity driving trip I've ever done in the US or Canada. And can I just point out that this town of 13,000 people...
𝗪𝗺z. I know where it is. It's in 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, which is the south of Bern.
But the best part about traveling in Switzerland was that whenever I got to my destination, no matter where it was always a short walk.
Oh, this place. Yeah, it's beautiful. Dude, I love my country. It's so fucking pretty.
Tram trip, or gondola journey directly to where I wanted to go. Because every Swiss city, town, and village is designed properly.
This is in front of Basel train station. But look at over the train station, this is what you see. Instantly trams everywhere. And like I've seen some pictures and videos about American or Canadian train stations. They sometimes have not even a bus connection to the train station. And you have to go to the train station by car. What's the point of the train station then? Like, bro.
To be mixed use and walkable.
Awesome. Oh! Fantasy Puzzle! That is Swiss Comic Con! I just now know this because of the logo over here. Fantasy Puzzle is Swiss Comic Con. So it was there in spring. Fantasy Puzzle is in April, May. Probably, no, it's in May, I think. Fantasy Puzzle is where I won my first Mario Kart tournament.
This was the very first time that I returned to the Netherlands after a trip abroad and didn't think to myself, oh,
Yeah, this is
finally,
today,
back
I
to
think.
civilization.
Or Puzzle. No, it's
easy to
Puzzle.
feel that way when coming back from a trip to North America because everything is just so terrible there by comparison.
Bro, this just looks sad. Honestly, this looks depressing as shit. Wait, to the convention center. They had, okay, to go to Fantasy Plaza, I would need to take the train to the bigger town, then take their train to the next city, then from there take the train to Alton, and then from there take the train to Basel, and then in Basel I take the tram to the convention center. They don't have a train line directly to the convention center, but a tram line to there. And it's same in Bern as well. We have the Bea Expo Center, which is in Bern-Wankdorf, which is the eastern part of Bern. And you can just take either the bus or tram or train there, because Wankdorf has its own small train station as well. But still somewhat more convenient than what we have in the US. How would you get to the convention? Just wondering. How would it look like for you where you live to get to a convention? Is it just drive or get a taxi and that's it? Like, that's also one thing. Like, American car centric design wouldn't be so bad if they wouldn't have surface parking lots. Like, what about underground parking lots? Just saying. I need to watch a video about American urbanism and react to that because I have a lot to say. Places surrounded by highways on all sides. And traffic is real bad since the airport is closed. Okay, that's something I never understood about American cities. Is why the fuck do they have highways going through the city? The only Swiss city who has that is Zurich, and that's why it's such a garbage city. And even then, in Zurich, it's underground. They probably, but here in Detroit, we have pretty solid buses. Yeah, Detroit is doing pretty decent with buses. Yeah, I heard about that. Streets look very neat. No, they don't. What if Mecca's issue is no. No, no, no. That's bullshit. America's not too big for public transit. Or for stopping highways at the edge of town. No. Absolutely not. Yeah, I know the racist history of American cities, and yeah. Like, when it comes to public transit, it's mostly regional. Switzerland and Japan as well most have the luxury of being small countries, right? But like, if you would tackle American public transit, like just state-wise, well, some are a bit bigger, but yeah. No, you can't just have high-speed rail for statewide traffic. But then most people are for traffic in cities or smaller areas. But like, cross-country or even cross-state travel makes more sense to be by plane because America is so big. But like, you could connect, for example, Philadelphia, New York with high-speed rail. As example, make a commute between the cities like, I don't know, 20 minutes. Or even shorter than that. Or have Houston and Dallas connect with high-speed rail and have a shorter commute between those cities. Like, there is no excuse against that. I just have the suburbs be more connected with buses and shit. There's no excuse for that. I gotta watch a video on American urbanism because, oh my god, do I have shit to say.
was different. Everything just seemed a bit less polished. Despite getting on a recently renovated train back to Amsterdam Zuid, it still seemed kind of rickety and noisy compared to the train I left in Zurich. And I
That
almost
trains
missed
look
my train
nice.
because I forgot
I like the
to download
design.
the tube card before boarding. It was only at this point that I realized I hadn't gone through a fare gate for.
Wait, train stations in other countries have fare gates? I know Japan has, but that's because they're such a busy city. What? It's just just get on the train. It's so easy to get on the train. I sometimes forgot to buy a ticket. When I was a kid.
For a train the whole time I was gone.
I can't say my country does since 2020 or so. Oh, okay.
Which was really
Weird.
nice. Dutch cities are pretty great, and that's an
Dude, one thing I'm so jealous of the Netherlands is their bike infrastructure. I would love to bike more, but even though it's safe to cycle on Swiss roads, I'm too anxious for that. So I'd love what the Netherlands have with in that regard.
understatement, and cycling is certainly better here than anywhere in Switzerland. And
It is because fare dodging is a thing. Maybe to a station that had a fare gate. Mega stations might have those. Definitely the subways have them. Yeah, it's just the only public transit that has a fare gate are boats. Those are the only ones, I think. Plus, I haven't been on a boat in a long time.
I talked about that in a previous video. But there's something to be said.
Seed Glocka! Remember our cryptid talk? Remember our cryptid talk that we once had? This is the, in quotation marks, ogre statue. Right here. Right here is the ogre statue. The baby fresser. Right here. I used to go around this place like every day when I lived in Bern for a short while. Like I lived in the city once. And this tram was my connection to the city from the outskirts. Because right around this corner in this direction, like over here, is the old town where all the shops are. And there was a GameStop. Obama blocked Amtrak expansion because it would have used the American Truck, could have upset the American Truck Association. This is, despite it being a potential 85 million boost with GDP and building the trains and stuff. Yeah. Trains are so much more efficient for transporting goods. That's why, for example, when there's stuff that needs to be transported from Italy to Germany, they usually, not always, but usually, transfer the load onto a train, have that train go from the Italian border to the German border, and then unload it there onto a truck in Germany. That's extremely common here. Also, trucks should be short distance. Like, we have trucks everywhere as well, but they're short distance. But we get it to major hubs through train. Because it's more efficient than have it dispersed with trucks. Because trucks are inefficient in long distance transport. Also, yeah, this is 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗏𝗃. Very nice place. Can recommend. I was there recently again. It's so pretty.
Sad about a country that is so well set up with high quality, punctual.
Also, if you're an American and visit Switzerland and are in this place, right outside the camera over here is McDonald's, so you can feel at home.
Public transportation that is traveling.
I'm sorry I had to do that.
This carefree transportation felt like true freedom, more so than any car-dependent place I've ever been. Of course, one of the things they definitely don't have here in the Netherlands is
Glacier Express,
so one of the
yeah.
highlights of my trip was taking the Glacier Express, a scenic train.
Are we gonna take the Glacier Express?
Beautiful views in the Swiss Alps.
Also, one thing, you see it a little bit here, but Switzerland has a pretty healthy biker culture, by the way. It has a pretty decently sized biker culture. And they just bike through the mountains. We should know how to market Switzerland.
I made a whole other video about what it's like to take the Glacier Express, and you can watch it now on.
The town I lived in before I moved here had a small biker gang of like 5 people. But like it's really just people who love bikes, not actual gangs, you know? And I sometimes heard them riding down the road. It was fun.
Nebula. Nebula is the Streamy award-winning service that was created by and for educational video creators like me.
This was a good video, and I think I could say a lot of things.
Completely ad and sponsor free, and there's extra content like my Glacier Express video, as well as videos from over 150 other creators on.
But yeah, we gotta take the Glacier Express sometime.
Technology, history, media analysis, creative writing, and more. I legitimately enjoy Nebula, and I watch content on there almost every day. You can sign up to Nebula directly, but it's actually cheap.
I follow a few Nebula people, but not enough to be worth a Nebula subscription.
Stream is a streaming service for professionally produced educational and documentary films.
But a lot of people who post on Nebula are really good YouTubers with fun and interesting content.
I recently watched
Can recommend it.
about 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, a wilderness preserve in the
One of the forest preserves in Switzerland. Especially when I do my biking. Oh, we have forests everywhere. I literally have a forest in my backyard, basically. Actually, 2 forests. One on top of the hill and one on the other side of the road. They are everywhere.
If you sign up at curiositystream.com/notjustbikes or with the coupon code notjustbikes.
Actually, the next video on the playlist is a video about biking in Switzerland.
$79 for the
How
whole
convenient!
service, which is about about as much as a ticket from Zurich to Basel if you don't have a travel card.
The bus is only 1 hour, yeah.
Here or in the description. I'd also like to thank my supporters on Patreon who pay me to
Also,
travel
I
first
just
class on
love
business.
his channel, not just Spike's. Very
If you'd
good
like to
content.
participate in this list of supporters and get early
I've been
access,
watching his content for like
visit
3 or 4 years. It's really good and very informative.